Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another breakfast with Blaha. And today I'm having brown rice, steak, and vegetables. Speaking of which, let's talk about food. All right, topics that have come up when I've made videos discussing the need for skinny guys to bulk. I always tell people, look, if you're noobs, you guys are going to have to bulk. Question that then comes up is, what about obese people? What about obese people? And I'm going to give you the answer a lot of really good coaches give. All right. Is your goal to lose fat or is it to gain muscle? Because that comes back to the same exact point I make with the guys who need to get bigger. Okay? They need to get bigger. And they're worried about their fat gain. They're worried about their body fat. And I'm not saying they're wrong for doing that. I'm saying that being obsessed with your body fat is going to add a lot of years to your journey to build a base. Okay, trying to stay lean may add 3 years to how long it takes you to finish out your 1 year noob gains. Might take you 3, 4, 5 years to finish them if you choose to do that. And if you do that, you have to temper your expectations and say, hey, I can't think I'm going to make a bunch of gains. They're going to be super, super, super slow. I'm not going to put on 15 pounds of muscle this year. I'm going to put on 4. Okay. My bench isn't going to go up from 185 to 275, it's going to go from 185 to 210. So on and so forth. Because you've got to pick and choose. Is your goal to get big and strong or is your goal to get lean? It's the same thing when we deal with the obese people. People brought that up. Well, what about them? Should they bulk? Well, no. Unless their goal is to compete as a heavyweight, super heavyweight in a strength sport, right? In which case they might need to bulk, but they're disregarding health for that. So what do I mean by obese? I don't mean skinny fat people. I hate that, and I've made it very, very, very clear. Skinny fat guys do not need to cut. It ends in disaster every single time. Why? Because guys who are skinny fat, which is, how do we define that? Your normal body weight. Okay? You are normal body weight. Your BMI is in the ideal range, but you have a belly and you have biceps about the diameter of my wrists with a belly that sticks out past your nipples. Okay? That is skinny fat. How do you become skinny fat? By being completely sedentary on a junk food diet, playing video games, and never getting up from your chair for years. So that you have no muscle because you're not active in any way. You have a below average muscle and above average fat. Those guys need to recomposition or slow bulk. They'll lose fat while gaining slowly. Those guys will, right? They will lose body fat. So that skinny fat guy might be 22% body fat with zero muscle. They'll be 5'9" at 150, 155, 160 with a belly. Okay, they're skinny fat. If that guy slow bulks, he'll lose a little bit of fat. And his body composition will change enormously. I'm talking about them. I'm talking about people who are overweight. You're in the overweight category and you've just started lifting. Well, in that case, obviously you need to lose some weight. You need to get your health on point. Right? Those people don't need to bulk. They obviously want to get to a healthy body weight, because if we're going to bulk to gain muscle and haven't built a big base already, you're fairly new to training, obviously you want to be at a normal, healthy body weight before you start gaining, in which case they need to diet. So what do we mean? Guy who's average height, hasn't worked out much yet, who's 180, 190, 200, you know what? That guy might want to get down to 165, 170. Okay? Might be a good idea, because the skinny guys I'm talking about, I'm saying need to gain quick, are, average height. 5'9". 5'9" is average height in America. They're 5'9" at 150, 155. Those guys need to bulk. But the guys who are overweight, they probably need to get down to a normal, healthy, ideal BMI. and then they can slow bulk up. But here's the point. People say, are they going to make good gains? No. They're not going to make good gains. Just like the guy who chooses not to bulk correctly, who's skinny, is not going to make good gains. But you need to pick one. Their goal is to lose fat. Can they make maybe a little bit of gains? Sure. A person who's 200 pounds at average height and doesn't have noob gains yet, they'll gain muscle dieting down to 170. They spend a year losing 30 pounds, but they follow good training, they will gain a little muscle. They'll gain a little bit of muscle. Sure they will. They'll gain some strength. Of course. It's not going to be very good. If they follow really good programming like I put out and advise, it's going to be a lot better. It's going to be a lot better than if they follow some silly training. And they'll lose body fat quicker. Because gaining muscle costs you energy. Right? They'll recomposition much more effectively. But no, they're not going to make good gains, no matter what they do. They can make better or worse gains, or they can lose muscle. If they follow the wrong training, they'll lose muscle while doing this, even though they're largely untrained. But they need to lose weight. But we come back over to the point, you can't serve two masters. You can't serve two masters. And even people say, well, what about drugs? Okay, what about drugs? You do realize that people on stuff still get better results when they bulk and cut, right? People seem to be unaware of this fact. They still have the same rules, they're just amplified. They have more wiggle room, way more wiggle room. Even they do better if they follow these sort of rules. Just they can get away with not following them. Doesn't mean it's optimal, unless they need to look that way for the camera all the time. That's different, isn't it? But the point here is, guys, you can't really serve two masters. So the people who are overweight, we come back over. There's delayed gratification. The skinny guy who needs to gain a ton of muscle is going to have to gain some body fat. He can't be afraid of gaining 10 pounds of body fat. You can't be. Even 15. You can't be over his first year bulking. If he's worried about that, he's not going to finish his new gains. He's not going to get good progress. So he has to delay that gratification for his razor sharp abs that can cut glass or whatever he thinks he needs. The fat guy is going to have to delay his gratification. He's going to have to accept that if he wants to lose the body fat, he's not going to gain very much muscle in the process. So in each one of these, people need to understand that you can't have your cake and eat it too. You're going to have to do things in different phases with the expectation that you're going to get the thing that you focus on, and other stuff is not going to be particularly good. You might make no progress. You might make very small progress in those other areas. But you accept that because these things have to be done in phases. And you have to be patient. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.